Hello. I think you can hear me because I am using my phone. I see. Oh, my screen popped up. Oh, yep, I can hear me on TV over here. I'll turn my volume down on television. Mhm. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to another live. I have all sorts of stuff here today. Just give everyone a couple of minutes. I hope everyone's having a great week. Hello, Kelly. How are you doing this evening? I have stuff everywhere, so I am kind of trying to get organized. Hi, Michelle. We're just going to wait a couple minutes. So while we're waiting for a couple people to come on, tonight I'm going to talk about foiling. We're going to do a bunch of foiling. I'm doing pretty good. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow's my last day of work. Good evening, Valencia. Hi, Lori. There was a question today about the finishing glaze, so I'm going to use this tonight. But the challenge for this month in the Bruce Monroe Fan Club is to use foil of some sort. So I thought maybe I'd use just kind of foil. I have a few things I made up in advance. We should be able to get a card made, but it depends on how the process of the prep. So otherwise I'll get the card made. But I wanted to kind of go over some different ways. Hi, Kate. You can use different products. So some of the basic products you can use to foil, besides like tissue tape, which I didn't grab. Okay, I have some of mine right here. Or, like double-sided sticky tape. Oh, there's my light. Is you can use chroma glaze. And I am going to use an old chroma glaze that is no longer available because I'm going to foil over it. And so I just wanted to use something up. Hi, Cherie. And then you can also use, I am going to use the transfer gel, which is the original, but get the transfer gel duo, which is what my sample will be tonight. And I will show you why. Or you can use the finishing glaze, or you can use tape. There is a deco foil glue that I don't know if I have it handy that you can use. It's a, oh, yep. It's like a liquid adhesive. This was a sample I got where I can put some little dots, so we can try that too. But let's get started. I'm only going to do one. I'm going to do one with the transfer gel tonight. It's the same process whether you use the chroma glaze or the finishing gel. But I'm just going to use this because this is older and I want to use this up. And the transfer gel you have to use with the laminator. The duo if you see that, can be used with heat or with a die cut machine. So that's why, but I want to use this up because I'm not going to do this one on camera. So I also recommend, if you're going to use a very intricate stencil, like the couple of samples I have, is to get some pixie spray because it helps keep those fine lines down. Now, I think tonight I am almost out of pixie spray. Oh, and you can also use pixie spray foil. I'll show you that too. So I am going to grab this stencil. It's got dainty lines, but it doesn't have like little finicky parts, should I say, that can get up. But I am almost out of pixie spray. So I am actually going to a class reunion this weekend, and I have a scrapbook store very close to me. I'm going to stop in and buy some. So I have some on order, but I ordered it with my Christmas box, so it's not going to come till next week. So I don't have a whole lot of pixie spray. I usually have 2 or 3 jars. So anyway, I like to use pixie spray when I do any kind of mediums like gels and glazes because it helps it hold down, and then I like to just press it really well. So first with the transfer gel, like I said, you use the duo. I just want to use this up. This is from Nuvo. It's a silicone spatula. I tends to find that it doesn't, if I forget to get it washed off, it doesn't stick. So I like to only go one direction. This is whether I'm using the duo, the finishing glaze, or chroma glaze. I don't like to go back and forth. I like to go one way. I find that I don't accidentally move it on the stencil and get it underneath. This is just me personally. And I'm just going to go in and put some on. You could, if you were using I have not done it with the finishing glaze. That might be something for me to experiment with, but with like a lighter chroma glaze, or if you didn't get quite the color you want, you can add some aqua pigments to it, watercolor, mix a couple colors, to make a color if you really wanted it a different color. But I would mix it on my mat. I would not mix it in the jar. So I'm just going to kind of go and smooth it out, kind of trying to just get a nice even. I'm not terribly worried. I just want to make sure my stencil is covered. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. And then something else, hi Mom, that I have found very handy is this one is the Simon Hurley. You can also get I have them somewhere from Decofoil. They're called the Stencil Pal. This one just happens to be on my desk. And it's just, I just kind of hold it at an angle and just swipe it over to get that nice even coat. Then I can take this off. Now, when I use something like this, I try to do it the day before. I don't do it too far in advance, but I try to do it the night before. Like if I know I'm going to craft like on a Saturday or Sunday, I go in my craft room quick and try to get this done so it can dry overnight. I do like to dry them overnight. But I was telling someone in the Brutus Monroe fan club group, the first time I ever used foil is in a class that I met Sue Daugherty from Thermoweb with the Decofoil and Christopher. And I was foiling. It was the first time I ever foiled, ever. And it was a 1-hour class. And we found if we put it in the window that was over that direction and the windowsill was black, they dried very quickly. So the thinner it is, the faster it will dry. So what I'll do sometimes is I'll just place it in my window to bake, basically. I do the same thing with my aqua pigment papers, things like that. So my dog wants to come in, but he's going to have to wait. His daddy will have to bring him in. I have this laminated piece of paper. I just have it off to the side here. And this is what I like to put all my wet things on, whether it's watercolors or glazes. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel this off. And I'm going to let this dry, and then I will use it, and I will foil with this at another time. But I just wanted to show you this. The process is the same, whether it's the Duo or the finishing glaze or chroma glaze. So does anybody have any questions about that part of it? And then I like to do a bunch at once. Tonight we're not going to do a bunch because obviously for time you don't want to sit there and watch me. I'm going to quickly put this in a bucket of soapy water I have here on the floor. And I just let them sit and soak until I'm all done, and then I will go and clean them off. Of course, I spill everything on the floor. Putting things away properly. More things on the floor. Okay, so being said, we've got that done. I will show you the different ones that I did. I did use the Duo tonight for us. All right, let's get this put off to the side before I knock it off. Okay, so for tonight, I used the, we're going to start with the typography stencil, which is the stencil of the month. I made this one last night, and I have it drying. And this is, actually, yes, this is the Duo. So it's going to be very hard to see. I'll kind of try to get it up there, but you can kind of see how shiny it is. So I know it's dry. And I just let it dry. So this is the Duo. So what we're going to do is we're going to use, I grabbed some different foils. You want to use Decofoil or heat transfer foil. You do not want to use glimmer. Can I make what I'm doing larger? Do you mean like, can I zoom in? I can try. Is that what you want? Does that help? Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm sorry. I didn't switch my cameras around. I apologize. There you go. Got it. I usually switch them around right away, but I thought maybe you guys like to see my face for once. Yes. So I just, like I said, I just swiped this. So this is the, thank you, Julia. This is the Duo. So I let this dry overnight, and I'm going to use, this is the Rain Glow foil. And what I like to do, hi Tara, yes, I know I had my face sitting on there for way too long. Now it's down in the corner. I know, I can't wait to see your face. I'm still working on maybe October, but I don't know yet because I got to figure out someone watch the dog. So I'm just going to grab one. So whenever you foil, you want, this is considered the pretty side. And then, you know, this is the non-pretty. I mean, it's pretty, but it's not. We want, this is the side we're going to use to foil. So I'm just going to put this aside. I'll clean that all up later. I miss your face too, Tara. We are going to, I have actually only done this once because I usually use my laminator. We're going to go ahead and put this rain glow in. And we're going to put it, I'm just using some parchment paper that I have cut down. This is a pretty heavy cardstock, so you could use a paper shim if you want. So hopefully this will work for me because I haven't done this in a long time. And I'm just getting my Platinum 6. Yeah, no, the picture in picture was very, very, very tiny, I'm sure. I apologize, Julia. Is the screen bigger now? Now I'm putting in normal. You can't see my, you know, I'm just putting it in normal because we're going to just run it through my die cut machine. Just like I would if I was going to do a die. And we're just going to run it through. Hopefully I did it right. Like I said, we're learning together because I haven't done this in a long time with the Duo. So I just ran it forward. I'm going to run it backwards and hopefully we did it all right. It looks like it's looking good for me. So I'm going to take that down. I'm going to move my die cutting plate from my die cutting machine because I'm not going to use that again. So if you can kind of see, the pattern, I think, if I tilt it. So now this is where hopefully it's going to work. All right, so here it is. This isn't, you know, if it's not perfect on the sides, it's probably because there's no Duo there, but yeah, I can see. I'm going to burnish that down just a little bit more. It's not going to necessarily be perfect, but I'm okay with that. And that might be where I didn't get enough of the gel. So there you go. So there, I'm going to keep this negative for another time. I can use that for something else, which I'll show you what you can use those for. Now I see I have a little bit of over foiling here and there. Oh, thank you. I don't usually show my face on camera. I'm just going to go through. And the reason I have a little overfoiling is because I use that pixie spray and I'm a heavy pixie sprayer. So there was a little bit of adhesive in there. So I'm just kind of using this a little eraser just to kind of hit some spots here and there. But, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, and I'm not going to take my time to do that whole this, but look at how that is. So this is how you can foil if you use the Duo with a die cut machine. You can also just put it flat, like just put it, you know, and just put it, and then you can die cut it out, shapes, things like that. So hopefully we'll have a chance to make a card yet tonight, but I want to do some more foiling. Okay, otherwise we will work on that later. So I'm going to put that here to the side. And next we're going to pull out, this is the Chroma Glaze. And yes, I used, like I said, this is an old neon yellow Chroma Glaze. You could use any colored Chroma Glaze you want. Usually with the Chroma Glazes, I use the Magic Shattered Glass foil. But tonight I'm going to try opal. I have never tried opal on top because I think it's going to be really, no, that's not true. That's not what I want to do. This is for a different one. I apologize. I have a bunch of colors out here. I'm actually going to try this. This is the, oh, I have the stencil thing here. Macrame stencil. It's called the macrame stencil. And I used a pixie spray on it, and then I just put this on it. So I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna use the Chroma Glaze on it, and I'm gonna go ahead and use, this is the Emerald Watercolor. I just want to see what it looks like over this yellow, because I really don't care if the yellow. And I know this, oh, that's not a big enough piece. And I don't know if these are smaller pieces, which is fine. You can get longer pieces. These are the ones in the tube. I always just fold mine back up and put them inside. There we go. So these are leftover pieces from another project. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to trim it down a little bit because I don't need all this extra, and save it. And I have this handy little rotary trimmer. Be careful, it's very sharp. I got from Brutus Monroe. There's a dog hair on this. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to trim it this way. One reason I like to work on a glass mat, I don't really have to worry too much Get that dog hair off of there. There we go. And then this is, I love using chroma glaze with the magical shattered glass or the opal. But this would be a good way to use up if you have a color you're not necessarily loving. Grab a darker color. And I'm not saying I don't love the neon. I just wanted to use it up. So we're going to go ahead and put that. Now, here's, I said, pretty side is going up. And hopefully, oh, this isn't going to be quite long enough. It'll work, though. It'll work, though. It's a little short. Now I'm going to grab my laminator, okay? I've had my laminator warming up. I have a Royal Sovereign. This isn't, you know, this is kind of the boring part because it doesn't go, so you can't control how fast it goes through. I always put your parchment paper in with the fold side in. I would always put it in a piece of parchment paper or a folded piece of copy paper. Ask me how I know that. I actually had to take mine apart because I had my foil get stuck inside. I had to take it apart and peel it off. I was so upset, but it still works. I always make sure my laminator is unplugged and when I'm not using it. And I have this on the hot setting. Now, everyone kind of does it differently. I do like to run it through twice. And I am only because I have this other overhang a little bit. So we're going to do that. So like this is the deco foil. This one is with chroma glaze. And then a transfer foil, like a toner foil, I guess would be another word for it. Transfer sheet is what they're usually called. Bruce Monroe has several of their own designs and patterns, or you can use the deco foil. And I can already see that it's going through, but I am going to go ahead and turn this around and just run it through one more time, just to be safe. Well, to be honest with you, I use chroma glaze to foil more than I use the transfer gel anymore. Mostly because I've had really good luck with it. And I have a bunch of chroma glazes. So it's just another product to add. It's not that I can't use this, especially if I didn't want to bring my laminator with. I could bring this with if I was going on a retreat, let things dry, and I could use my die cutting machine. And actually we'll move those out of the way. Now I know that you want to do some of it in advance. I wouldn't do them too far in advance and leave them sit for a long time with the duo. I'm not sure exactly how long you can wait, but I wouldn't like do it and then months later go back and foil. I would do it within, and foil it within a few days. Sometimes it's fun if you don't know what to do just to go and make some backgrounds in foil, because you can always throw a sentiment on it or an image on it and you have good to go. All right. So I don't know if you can see the pattern you can see that pattern almost, which is kind of cool on its own because you almost could leave it and it almost looks like a tin plate. But here is where the magic happens. Okay. Hopefully we're good. Oh, I might let it cool off just a minute. It's still a little warm. So this is the chroma glaze with the deco foil. That's okay, Penny, no problem. So look at that with the chroma glaze. Now, yes, you can see there's a little bit of spots here and there, and that's because that I might not have had, when I pulled off my stencil, I might have had some spots. They would just rub away a little bit. And then here you can see the color. I'll try to, there we go. It's very, very bright and shiny. Sorry, my light is there we go. Oh, here comes my pup. So that is, and then you can also, like I said, save this and put this on with a toner sheet, which I will show you what I'm talking about, and you could foil this. Okay, so we've got those two. That's the duo gel and the chroma glaze. Now, today somebody asked about the finishing glaze. To be honest with you, I have never foiled this before. I've seen it done by Christopher. This one's the matte. I think there's a gloss too. But what I did is I took what stencil is this? This is from the Fall Harvest set, the Scattered Leaves. And it's funny because I actually ink blended. This is Love Struck, Roar, and Shooting Star. And they're very neon looking. They're not the deep color that they were before. And that's fun. Now, this is where I was going to say I was going to use the shattered glass so you could see that, but I've used the shattered glass a lot and I haven't. Opal is one of my favorites. I really want to see what the opal looks like with this. So let's move this off to the side just for a minute. Yes, Penny, I hope he heals fast. I got up from the floor at work today and I was like, ow, that hurts. And this little girl asked me today, she was there at the end of the day, kind of quick. Her mom was picking something up and she said, are you okay, Candy? And I said, yeah, I'm just getting old. And she's like, I'm getting old too. So this is one where you can kind of, it might be hard to see the sunny side, but there is, this one's more matte side and this one's more shiny side. So I'm pretty sure the matte side is the side I need. I know there's a way when you let it lay that it's the way, I think it's the way it curls is but you know, the nice thing is if you put it in the wrong way to foil, it will, I'm going to do this right in the middle because there's a little bit of a, well, I'll just use the end. It won't foil if you do it the wrong way. And so then you can just run it backwards the other way. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this down again. I'm not sure if my dog ran outside or if he's inside. So this is the opal with the finishing glaze, the matte finishing glaze, which is just beautiful as it is. And you can kind of see what it's going to kind of look like. Go ahead and put that in. And we have 2 more ways we can foil yet. We've got lots of foiling you can do. You can kind of use any laminator you want. I did have a cheap generic laminator. I like the Royal Sovereign. I know there's the mink. I don't have a mink. A mini mink would be nice only for size purposes on my desk, but I have this one and it works. So if it ever dies, I'll make a decision then what I'm going to do. So this is the boring part where it just goes through. So the Merrymaker event was this past weekend. I had so much fun. I'm not sure where my cards are. They're not sure if they're handy, but I got a text message tonight just before that the Merrymaking release is live on the in the store. So if you want to go check that out and pick some of those things out, we made some absolutely beautiful cards with everything. So and here we go. Last little bit. I'm going to check on it. I am going to run it through one more time. And then, while that's running through, I'll see if I can grab some of the cards from our Merrymaking event. I'm not sure where I put them, so I might not be able to. Yeah, I'm not sure where they are. I apologize, you guys. I should have had those out so you could see them. It was very, very fun and beautiful. So, all right. Once we're done with this, we're going to laminate one more time with my laminator. And that is, well, we're talking about that. We'll talk about it. That is with, this is the cover of it. This is the peel and stick, but you can also get regular toner sheets and they're black. These are from Decofoil as well. And I did have the peel and stick ones, and I'm going to use this with a sentiment. So I thought we'd use that. Put that away. But I wanted to also tell you, we'll do them at the same time. This is part of one of the backings from our stencils. If you're not a big person that carries your stencils or wants these, you can use this to foil. Now, mine are bigger. I like to keep mine in the 6x6, so I always chop off a little bit at the end, the bottom. And then I put like a sticker on the top. So this is just an old one that didn't have a sticker on it. It might have been a sample I had. And I'm going to go ahead and die cut out the word thanks with this. I'm going to use my, oh, I can put this away. I'm going to put this down here quick. I thought I cut the other one out, but maybe I didn't. Okay. So I have my peel and stick here, and I have this one here. I think for the peel and stick, I'm going to use this, the big thanks. And for this piece, I'm going to use the shadow, and then we'll show you what they look like. I just wanted you to know that if it's been printed on toner, with toner, you can foil it. For example, you can foil the Brutus Monroe paper pads, but I will tell you from experience that if you go to do it, it will foil the whole paper for the most part. You probably will lose all of the pattern. So just be aware of that. But like I said, you can use these as a backer. So we will do that. Let me run this peel and stick one through quick too, so we can run these through. I did not grab a foil out for them. You may grab the gold here quick. So then, oops. Oh man, maybe I should have foiled it first, because this peel and stick one is peeling off because this is so dainty. Well, you can learn from me. Maybe you want to laminate the whole thing, do the whole thing first and then die cut it if you're using something like this. Fortunately for parchment paper, it doesn't usually stick. So I should still be okay when I foil it. All right. Because parchment paper is supposed to be releasable. Hopefully it will still work. Otherwise I'll use some glue. All right. So here is our finishing glaze one. So those of you who said how to use the finishing glaze, this is one way you can use it. One to just to put that matte finish on it and leave it. And I'm going to go ahead and peel this off. Now you can't see much here, but obviously I peeled this off. So this could be used as a background with this peel and stick black paper I was telling you about. You can use this negative with this, and then you could use a second foil to go through and laminate the leaves. But here, it's going to be kind of hard to see on camera, but you can see it. So with the finishing glaze and the chroma glaze are really fun because you can use them for different things, but then it just gave it that shine. And then once again, like I said, I have a tiny bit of oil of foiling right there. I can just grab it. It's probably got some stick to it because of where I had some pixie spray. So, but this can also just be used as a nice, this one, I like the matte because sometimes I don't want it shiny. So that's why I got this one. Always keep this piece of paper and this piece on top. It helps keep everything from drying out instead of having to use press and seal. So there we go. We've got that. All right. How are we doing? 7:26. We're good. All right. We need some foil for our thanks. Let's see. What do we got here? Actually have a little bit of gold and a little bit of silver leftovers. This is messy. This is from a project I did a long time ago. These are just big scraps that I ended up using. You can see I used it. You can actually use foil if you use alcohol inks and they're still wet. That's what this was from. That's another day. But let's quick cut some of this down. We're just going to use some of this, see if we can use some of these scrap pieces to foil with. Oops, I'm going to cut myself. I think the silver one's too far gone, so I won't be able to use that one. But let's see if I can get the gold one to work. Just enough. So now this is where, because I have such a tiny sentiment, I would probably put a piece of foil in with it. And there's a lot of foil in here. I'm going to go ahead and let this run through. I'm just going to do this on the floor. We don't need to sit and watch that go through. I'll let that happen. And then I don't know if I'm going to use the shadow later today. So the one you ink blended on, I did. I ink blended on it first. And then I left my stencil in place. And here, we'll just do one quick. It's not got a lot of tack to it, but I'll do it real quick, okay? Let me grab this piece of cardstock here. Oh, that's cream. I don't really want cream. See if I can find a piece of white. I like to use a thicker cardstock when I use gels, just because it gives it a little bit more sturdiness. Okay, that's not too bad. So yeah, we're just going to I'll just do quick blending. I don't want to use this one because the pixie spray isn't on it. Good. Let's use this one. We'll do one quick. Okay, Ellen? This is the Lots of Lines. So this one, I'm not going to use any pixie spray because it's out and it's got lots of lines. So I can just tape it on quick with some pixie tape. Probably should grab some new pixie tape or purple tape or whatever to hold it in place. And we'll do the same ones quick. Okay. So when I ever do yellow or do yellow, I always do yellow first. Yeah, you're welcome. Not a problem. Like I said, we got enough. I think we can get one card done. I'm just going to kind of ink blend a little yellow here and there. And that came through. I'm going to go ahead and shut my laminator off so that it starts cooling off. Safety first. I always do yellow if I'm going to, or my lightest color first, whatever it is. I don't have any rhyme or reason. Just using some brushes. I've been doing this a long time, so I tend to kind of touch over here and then run it over. I want it to overlap just a little bit here and there. And then we'll grab some of this Love Struck. Sorry, I'm off camera just a little bit. Move that up. Now, my red brush is very saturated. I almost need to kind of clean it off a little bit, but so I rub a little bit harder than I need to. This kind of a stencil, a lot of times I'll use the Ranger foam daubers because it doesn't have fine points for it to catch on. But usually with my stencils, I try to use my blending brushes. I just like, they don't usually catch on any corners of a stencil. And you do not, the finishing glaze, for example, chroma glaze, you can use either one of those. You could do that on just on colored cardstock as well. And it would give you kind of like a watermarky, shiny, or matte finish look. You wouldn't have to ink blend over it. But it's nice to kind of give that fun look to it. And it, like I said, it changed the color of my stencils. Of my color, or I mean of my ink, just enough that it kind of made it more of a neon color. Grab a little bit more orange so we can kind of blend over a little, mix those colors a little bit more. And then we'll grab just a little bit, last little bit of yellow. We got to do just kind of make. Shooting Star and Roar tend to be two of my favorite colors when I'm using reds and stuff like that. And then I kind of jump back and forth between Bee Sting and Love Struck. All right, that was just a quick blend. Now, what I like to do when I'm going to use any kind of glaze and I've been ink blending is just take my brush. You don't have to wet it, and just kind of wipe it a little bit just to see if I can get some of that extra ink off so I don't transfer it into my gel. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this. This is the finishing glaze. Like I said, once again, grab my spatula. And once again, I'm just going to go one direction. Thank you for asking that question, Ellen. I guess I kind of skipped over that a little bit fast, didn't I? And then I said thinner is better because it will dry faster. And I find I tend to have a little bit better results. So you don't necessarily, when I want to foil, like it doesn't squish down if I don't get it dry all the way. Because sometimes if you don't let it dry all the way and you put your, especially if you use the Duo and you put it through your die cut machine, the pressure can squeeze that and kind of mush it. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth just a little bit here. Make sure it's kind of mushed in, but not. So see how that now has, you're totally welcome. Anytime, you know, don't hesitate to ask in the Produce Monroe group, or you can ask on I'm Sugar Cards on Facebook. That's what I use for my card making. You can ask a question in there. You can PM me. You can tag me in it. I'm willing to do that. You know, I try to go live every Wednesday. I don't know if you can see that this has a little bit of color in it. So I'm not going to put that back inside. I had a piece of paper. What I think I'm just going to do is, not that it's going to matter much. I don't know if I'll be able to use it later. I'm just going to grab a piece of scratch paper and kind of spread it out. Sometimes I'll do that with extra paste and I can cut little die cut pieces out of it. If it dries, and I mean, this is just scrap paper here, so it's not going to matter if I don't use it. And then I can just let it sit and dry. But sometimes you can cut little stars or little hearts. You know, I could foil that once it's dry. So I'm just going to put that off to the side to dry. And grab my paper towel. I do like to keep baby wipes on hand for just this occasion, so I don't have to jump up to the sink every time. I tend to use them mostly with my glazes because I like to be able to dry off my table the fastest in my little thing. I use all sorts. I have a palette knife. You could get the palette knife and just use the stencil pal. So I'm going to go ahead now. This is that one again, and I'm going to go ahead and go kind of, I'm kind of like, let's see if I can try to show you on camera. It's hard to see. Kind of just at an angle, kind of just short like this. I mean, you can kind of see it right there in the corner. And I'm just going to spread it. And I'm not going to go back again on it with that. I'll wipe it off and I'll just kind of go one more time. Now, if it's not perfect, that's where you can throw some splatter on it, cut it off, cover up with a, you know, cut this down if I have to. And if you really don't like it, save it and make a die cut out of it. All right, so now we're going to peel this part. And this is one of those where it's hard to grab a corner because it's a full stencil. And then this is the finishing glaze. Let's throw this in our bucket quick. And then, so it toned down the ink colors just a little bit. And then this one is the one that has the foil over it. So you don't have to use the foil. You can just leave it when it dries like this. So I'm going to peel off this while I can. Another tip I can tell you that I have found that I like to do, ooh, almost dropped it, is that I like to just sometimes kind of run my fingers along the edges. You're welcome. You're welcome. And sometimes I like to just walk my fingers around the edges just because once in a while you get those little kind of hair goobers. I guess I don't know what to call them. Hair goobers. They're not really gel goobers. And that way I don't have to cut them off, especially if I want a full panel. So now I'm just going to set this aside to dry. No problem, Kate. You know, I said glazes is one of my favorite things. I have, hey, don't hate me. I have a whole bunch of glazes. I have more, and I have more on the floor. Of course, I mean, I love them. You know, a lot of times that's what I'll add to my order to kind of pop it up a little bit. I probably have every color. But they're just fun to do a quick fun background with. Add some shimmer, some sparkles. I have my favorites. So I do like the glitter glazes the glitter and the chroma glazes the most. So yep, Ellen, and that's this. Okay, so I have one more product. You can also foil like the panels. Sometimes they used to come in the box, and some other companies do sell like foilable panels, toner foil panels. Then and the conversation clippings. I couldn't find any of mine right now, so I couldn't do that. But I also wanted to show, and I know we carry some of these. I don't know if we have this, but Deco Foil has these adhesive transfers, and I know Unity has some, Bruce Monroe has some, and Tailored Expressions all have some. And I wanted to show this too, because this is another way you can foil without a machine. So this is a way you can add some foils, especially because Bruce Monroe has some amazing foils out there that you can use for different things. Like if you want to make a Halloween card, but you don't want to necessarily you can get something like this and use the thanks to make a thank you card. Yep. And sometimes that's what happens. The little ones did. I had one that said embossing powder, and I had to figure out which embossing powder it was, you know, in the little pumpkins, because the pumpkins are slittled. So you can use this without heat. I'm going to use them just kind of a generic way tonight. You can, there are die cuts that you can cut them. You can stuff like this. The directions are on the back if you don't know how to use them. These are kind of, they're clear. And what you're going to do is we're going to just cut. Doesn't matter how you cut. I'm going to just use this one right here. This thanks. You do want to use a die cut machine with these. I think you can use heat, but I know that you can use these with a die cut. Hello, Lisa. How are you? I'm coming to see you on Saturday. Hope that's okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do the rainbow on this one. So I'm going to put this on white paper. So let me grab a scrap of white paper back here. So what we're going to do, you won't be able to tell too much, but what you're going to do with these are really fun to do, is you're going to peel it apart. Okay. This piece is just like a backer piece, like for your stamps. So this is just garbage. Now, you don't want to touch this side. See, this is the toner side. You don't want to touch the side because it's sticky. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to put it down on my piece of paper. It doesn't matter where, because I'm going to die cut this out later. I have the dies for this. And then you're not going to be able to tell right away, but this is a fun way to foil without having to have a machine. And then I'm just going to run it through. You're welcome, Susan. I've heard you can use a bone folder to burnish this, but I recommend using a die cut machine because of the pressure. You know what, Julia, that's what I'm telling you. Look, I have a whole bucket. These are backgrounds I don't know what I'm going to do with. You know, they're pigments, aqua pigmented. There's, you know, I mean, I've not done anything with any of these, and I just leave them sit here. And sometimes I'm like, oh, hey, that's kind of fun. So, you know, if you really hate it, you can save it. I mean, you can always use it as a underneath, as like a, and die cut it and use it like in multiple layers, like stacks. So this is where it's going to be hard to see this. But you'll just have to trust me. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this off. Now this is just gone. There's no sticky on it. I have heard that people have foiled these, but I have not done it. I save them just because I don't know how well they die cut out. It's kind of a thicker plastic, but you could fussy cut around it. You could put it on a card, you know, things like that. I do save those. And then it's on here and it's going to be kind of hard to see. I don't know if you can see the shine. You can kind of see the shine. And it's on here. So this is where you take a piece of foil, and I wanted to use some of the rainbow foil, if I can figure out where I put the rainbow foil. Oh, I put it behind me. I'll have to use a big sheet. I'm not gonna cut it down. I'm just gonna use the foil, and we're just gonna put this on. And like I said, you can burnish it. You can cut it down. I'm just gonna, yeah, I'll just cut it down quick. So my thing's right here. And then we're gonna run through our die cut machine one more time. And I will have a lovely foiled sentiments. And my laminator's still on, so I need to turn that off. I must have hit it just right. All right, so I ran it through my die cut machine. Now I know I did. I turned it to cold, not off. So these were called adhesive transfers from Deco Foil. I know we had some in the store. I did not check to see if we had any, but I wanted to just add them because I know we did have them, and we had some. And then you just go ahead and pull it off, and look at that. I've got a foiled sentiment. I didn't have to use a laminator. So there have been more of these out in the market. I know that of this type of product. So I just wanted you to see, and you could save this and you could put this on that black transfer sheets, those toner sheets, and you could print that. So we're not going to use that tonight. All right, let's see if we can get a card made. So I did have an idea for this one. I had an idea for two. I don't know if we're going to get them both done. This one I'm going to cut down just a little bit. I always cut mine down because we had the white. I want to have the white end. So I'm going to go ahead and cut down a little bit at the top because I didn't foil it all the way, and I'll cut a little bit down here at the bottom. Actually, I might cut down more than I want. I'm going to cut it down a little bit more at the top. I'm going to cut this to 5. And then we're going to cut the sides down. So normally it's 4 1/4. Cut down some of the sides on both sides. I'm going to cut it to, there we go. So this is 3 1/4, 3.75 by, oh, I cut it down more than that. Yeah, by 5. Okay. I could mat this, but I'm just going to leave it plain. I'm going to grab a card base. So I like to have that big white border. This is where, like I said, it's not 100% perfect. I know I'm not going to take time to do this on camera. You can also use like your pick tool and kind of scratch at it if you wanted to. But like I said, this is part of that reason for me is because I used a ton of Pixie spray, and that was my fault. So I've got some extra. So I could go through and do this, and I might hit a few areas after we get off camera. But if you're not careful and you hit the other areas, you can knock that part off too. So that's why you want to be careful with that. Okay. So we're going to have that as our base. I went in ahead of time and I already stamped, die cut, and colored some of the all for set for school. This is from the inspiration box. So I already cut out some of the images so that you wouldn't have to watch me do that tonight. Got them like here. And I thought this is where we could use our thanks. So I think because, where's my gold thanks? That's what we wanted. I didn't show that to you guys yet. We've got this. Here's that lamp. There's that toner sheet that had the peel and stick. And now I have a laminated piece. And there is a little bit of the sticky come off of it. And oh shoot, I tore it. That's all right. We'll make it work. See if I can get it off. Because I should have foiled it, then die cut it. So I tore it. So I may not be able to use this tonight. But see how the peel and stick worked really nice. If you don't have the peel and stick, it would have been better. And we could have done that. It's not going to work for us tonight, you guys. I'm sorry. I made the mistake. Don't do what I did. Hi, Tia. So we'll have to change that. We'll have to change our plans. But that's okay. All right, I'm going to grab, I keep a lot of my cardstock pieces that are extra like this. I think I'm just going to grab a big old piece like this. We're going to die cut. We're going to put it right across. Hopefully it's straight. Looks straight. So we're going to go ahead and, oh, I got 2 card bases here. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. I am going to stamp on it after because I have my Misty. I find that it's not like glitter stock. You can use just tape runner. You don't have to use glue, where a lot of times I'll use liquid glue when I'm doing glitter stock to make sure that it stays down. I live and learn. I learned that was too finicky to go through. I'm not going to try to salvage that tonight. I should have die cut it or foiled it and then die cut it. Okay, so we've got that. I lost my big scissors. My big cheap scissors. There they are. I'll cut this down. What I love about a foiled background is that you really don't have to do a whole lot to them because they're pretty much exactly the way they need to be. So I've got that, and I've got these. I colored the books and the pencil and the scissors. I thought we'd make a little kind of thing. I don't know how they're going to lay here yet. I just thought I'd put them down, and we're going to get the thank you right out of the stamp set. I love that they come with the dies. So I haven't cut them all apart yet. But I love that the sentiments have with the dies too. So we're going to go ahead and grab the thank you right here. And we'll get this stamped out, and we'll have at least one card done. So I'm going to put this in our Misty here. Line that up. I'm not sure how we can do that yet. We might do it into, you know what? I know what we're going to do. Let's put the books over here. And we'll put the thank you in the middle. And we're going to put the pencils and the scissors over here. Kind of like that. So I'm just going to use those for placement, and then we'll move those off. I'm not going to worry about that being too super centered because we're going to put those die cuts in. And we'll just stamp this with some Raven Detail ink. I'm getting warm. Sorry, guys. I'm so thankful that fall is here and it's coming, and I'm ready for a freeze. Get rid of the bugs. Turn the leaves even more. Leaves have started to change here in Iowa, so they've been pretty. So, All right. I am going to quickly put that down on there. Like I said, I'll probably clean that up just a little bit with my eraser after off camera here. And I'm going to go ahead and just add some liquid glue. I like to use the Barely Arts glue. I'm going to put the pencils and the scissors over on this side. You could die cut these out and stack them, and that would and then pop up. That'd be pretty fun too for more of an element, but I'm going to kind of go more of a flat card. And I colored these last night, not even thinking what foil I was going to use, but I thought we'd just go with a rainbow color. I used the Spectrum Noir on the Perfect Blend. So there we go. So we've got this card. I think we have time to finish up at least one more. So there is that card. And then for this card, I had a great idea for this card. I want to cut it down just ever so slightly because I like this is at 3 1/4. I'm going to cut this down to 3. So I'm going to trim a little bit off this. See how the pattern? So I want to trim a little bit off this side. Thank you, Lori. I'm actually going to trim it probably down to right like this. And then I'm going to trim off just a little bit off the top and bottom because of the way the circle is. So that the way the pattern looks a little bit more perfect. There. I foil. I don't foil as much as I should. So, like I said, keep trying and don't worry about it. Run it through a couple times if you have to. It takes a little practice to get what's perfect for you with the thickness and if you need a shim or not. But, like I said, I have a few little things here and there, but I think that works. I'm going to go ahead and grab, these are the pre-cut card bases, slimline card bases from Brutus Monroe. I already scored mine. They don't come scored or folded. I already did them and had them already. So this is going to be our card base. And then I thought what would be fun for this card is I would use, this is the Super Sentimental. Ellen, we hopefully will get one before then here. And I want to use the Miss Your Face. And because it's going to fit perfectly in the center. Now, I could use this on some vellum, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and use some white, even though it's going to cover that up. So we're just going to stamp this out. I think I'm just going to grab a piece of paper here, stamp this out. I think I actually am going to use a green because of the green. Thank you. Of the green. So I'm going to grab Later Gator. And the first card I ever made, or one of the first cards I ever made with Christopher and Sue in that foiling class had this sentiment on it. This Miss Your Face sentiment. And I thought that was really fun. And like my friend that was on earlier, Tara. Hi, Annie. How are you? She said she was happy to see my face. So I don't always show my face on camera. I've been trying to do it more with this this program, just because it's kind of nice to see who I am. Because if you don't get to meet me, and not that I really go anywhere. I don't like to go anywhere. This is what I do when I'm not at work, is I craft. Okay, so that will be work for me. And then I'm going to grab my foundation dies. You can use any circle die you want. I had mine sitting out. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to see. Nope, you didn't miss it. So this one looks like it's going to fit perfectly. This is 1, 2, the fifth one, the fifth biggest, or the middle one, actually. It's going to fit perfectly there. It's going to cover up that a little bit, but I'm okay with that because I want my whole sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down a little bit. So I use my mini die cut machine here. Yes, it does. It does. And like I said, you get to know who you get to see me, so you can put a face to my name, a face to me, because I on both my Instagram and my Facebook, I don't have my face on anything. I have a card, I think, as my, and then my YouTube channel does have my face, I guess, but yeah, I think I used my headshot, my work headshot for it, but that might change too. Who knows? All right. I don't even think my blog has my face on it anywhere. All right. I have just a little metallic bowl off to the side here that I put all my dies in while I'm crafting live, so that, oh, I guess my magnet's right here, so I don't lose them. And then we've got this. We're going to go ahead and start putting this together. All right. We got a little bit of, here's where I was talking about the little goobers that I had on mine. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that down just a bit because I didn't cut this side off. I didn't run my fingers over it. Now, I don't know if I said what kind of foil this was. This was the Emerald Watercolor from Deco Foil. It's very pretty. I think the transfer glaze, you could also, those of you who were asking about, I think if you got a tiny little paintbrush out, you could probably use it and paint different spots on your card to give them some shine or not shine, like the eyes on the ghost or something like that. All right. And then we're just going to put this right here. And oh, did I not get that on straight at all? Holy cow, that was horrible. All right, let's peel that up and kind of move that down a little bit. That's better. That's better. That's better. And I have an Instagram account for myself. I never post on it. I really just don't. I don't do a lot of sharing on social media for my own page too often, just because I don't. Not anymore anyway. So it's not that I don't want people to see me. It's just, I don't know, the way it is. So once I could set this up and have my tablet here, and the funny thing is I have my tablet here, which is actually what I'm watching. I have my camera up here, and then those of you who haven't heard me before, I rearranged my craft room so there's a window right in front of me that looks into my living room because I'm in a porch, and I can see myself on the big screen TV, but I'm not even paying attention to that. So, okay. So there we go. We got a second card done. I will add the links tomorrow for the products we used. In the store, I will list the foils that I used if they're not in the store, so at least you can look for them, because I'm not sure, like I said, I buy them when they go on sale and kind of hoard them for different times and don't use them that often. But I guess I didn't show you about tape. I can show you that very quickly. Here's our two cards. Let me grab a piece of paper. I will just quickly make I am not very good with straight lines. I'm going to tell you, this is the transfer tape. This is another way you can foil. This is the tissue tape from Brutus Monroe. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go in and I'm trying to be as straight as possible. I'm using my grid lines. All right, which one did I use? I used this one. I don't know how straight this is going to end up being. Yes, zippity doo dah, 2 cards done. It can be fast if I don't think about it. It's when I think about it is when it takes me a while. Okay, so there's a little bit of a buckle there, so I'm going to have to see if I can. I'm actually just going to flip it over underneath and peel it off. You won't necessarily want to do that because it might stick to your table, but I'm going to make it happen. Okay, so here's that. And then I'm just going to grab some foil of some sort from my craft room here. I'm just going to grab this piece of red. Sometimes if I don't have an idea and I play, it works. And sometimes if I sit there and really think about it, that's when I get in my head and, you know, oh no, it's stuck. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, we'll make it work. I rolled it off. Okay, so this is the tissue tape. And I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put it down like this. And I am gonna use my bone folder in this case. See, I get a wrinkle in there too, but I can fix that. I'm just gonna put it down. This would work the same way with this liquid adhesive. I don't know if it has to be dry or not. I'd have to double check with that. That's, you know what, Kate, that's all you can do is practice. And then when you peel it away, and I rub that way kind of hard because I'm hurrying. And then that's where you can have, so you can use like really sticky tape. So, and then to make it very, very simple, like I said, don't rub super, I rubbed it too hard. You could just stick a sentiment, Merry Christmas down here, put a flower on here, and you got a Christmas card or a happy birthday, stick some balloons, do some purple, add something from the Halloween kit. A very simple card. So I hope you enjoyed and learned a little bit of something tonight. Thank you for joining me this evening. I will be back next week with I don't know what yet. It's the end of the month. That's the last day of the last live of the month for me. So, and then we'll be switching over to October. We created these two cards using some foil. We used the transfer gel or the finishing glaze with this one and some opal. We used the dual transfer gel with the spellbinders and the rain glow foil. This was the emerald foil with the chroma glaze, and I used this in the laminator. I hope you guys learned a little bit of tonight. Well, thank you, Susan. I enjoyed it. You know, like I said, reach out if you ever have an idea of something you want to use, especially if it's for the foil or for the challenge. You know, you need some. Can you do this? Let me know. So maybe you can create a card this next week. The challenge goes for one more week. And you can post it in the fan club with hashtag CYOE challenge so that you can be entered in to win a $25 gift certificate to the store. It's just used to use foil. I know the other way I did tell you that you can use foil is pixie spray. And I'm going to grab a background that I already have done. And my friend showed me this. My pixie spray is almost out, but you spray a little bit of pixie spray on your thing, and then you grab a piece of foil, and you can just, and you need to use deco foil, and you just go like this. And mine's going to peel off because it's got some flakes on it. And you can add a little bit. This is where you can use your, and look at, you got a little bit of extra sparkle for your background. This is flaked off, but all this little spot is from the pixie spray. So, all right. Well, you guys have a great night, great rest of your week. Thank you for joining me. And don't forget to create your own ending. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.